Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for being here. We have outstanding news to report this afternoon as 3 of the 4 survivors aboard the Golden Ray have been extracted from the space. The 4th survivor has been located, and it's an ongoing operation to try to get him out. This would not be possible without the outstanding support of the Don John Smits OPA 90 network, who were able to bring to bear technical specialists from around the world this morning, working closely with Coast Guard Air Station Savannah, Coast Guard Station Brunswick, the Glenn County Fire Rescue Squad, among others, to get the right people out there and find where the tapping was coming from that had been going on throughout the night in responses to our tapping. I just couldn't be more proud of the team here and the Glenn County residents who were so supportive of everything going on. The 4th member, again, remains on board, so it is ongoing. This is a dynamic situation, and frankly, we didn't even have time to prepare for this press conference, but it's outstanding news, and it continued to change throughout the day. While this is only the first part of the Golden Ray and the St. Simon Sound incident, there remains a lot of work to do. Threats to the environment, hazards to people, and to the economy through the Port of Brunswick are continue to be addressed through a unified command headed up by Commander Norm Witt, the state of Georgia, as well as the responsible party. And I'm confident that they will continue to attack those threats with the same vigor that got to us finding the 4 survivors. And we hope we'll have great news here in the coming moments that the 4th survivor has been able to be reached and will be extracted. Subject to your questions, that's all I have at this time.
Do anything about the condition or spirits of these people?
Their condition is relatively good for having spent close to 34 or 35 hours in the conditions they are in. And they are being treated by emergency medical services in Glenn County, and we should have better information on that. But at least 2 were very ambulatory, able to get themselves out. And then the 3rd one, I don't have all the information on, but I hate to speculate. But they were subject to some pretty tough conditions over the last day and a half.
Were they all in the same area? The 4 of them, it sounds like they might not have all been in the same area. And did they have access to food or water?
I don't know if they did, but once we got the first 3-inch hole in today, they were able to be passed water, and we were able to get them food and some fresh air. And that's probably the biggest. And whether they were together, no. The 3 were together in one spot. The 4th is stuck behind a glass, enclosed in a engineering control room. With those same experts who got us to where we are right now, we're going to find a way to get him safely extracted from that room as well. And he unfortunately has not had the access to fresh water or food that the others have at this point. So we'll continue to press forward.
How big a hole was ultimately drilled to get these folks out?
Do you recall how big that was? About 2 feet by about 3 feet, and it was done in 3-inch increments. So it was like connect the dots.
Is there like
Yes,
a
sir.
time frame chronological when y'all first reached them, when you got that first hole in, then the 3-inch, and then?
There is, but I don't have that with me.
You were talking about gender. You're saying.
1 second.
Sure.
Sorry about that, SBS.
Can you talk about age, gender, and roles on the ship?
No, I can't talk about that right now.
Captain, how did it feel when you first discovered they were alive?
It was outstanding. When I heard the news this morning that we had tapbacks throughout the night, I think that really motivated the team here from the Defiant Marine, who was leading some of the groups on board, as well as the team from Vertical Safety and Rescue. Those guys were motivated this morning, and the team from that delivered them on board, I think most of you saw that as the air station delivered those guys out there. They were charged up, and knowing that the people were alive made all the difference. And knowing where to go on a ship that's 600 plus feet big, where to go was an outstanding job by the engineers last night and the salvage team putting that plan together.
Any idea how long it will take to get the 4th member out?
No idea yet.
Can you talk about the weather conditions? It's really hot out. How hot is it inside the ship? And
Yes, I I know it's a lot hotter in that ship than it was for us on the outside, and I'm sure on the outside it was probably pushing 120 or more, based on what they were feeling. You saw we had rigged some shade for the crew out there, but that even is pretty unbearable at times. But consider the people inside who'd been dealing with the conditions they had for the last 30-something hours.
They heard that they have some language barriers, but did they have any messages for those who actually helped them out?
I'm sure they're going to have plenty of messages, and I have not heard about messages being passed back yet.
Can you tell
I was
us,
heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us about like what their emotions were when they got out? Was there anything that they said?
I think they were pretty relieved. I don't have information on what they said. I know they looked super happy to be outside of that space and coming down onto the tugboat, and then further moving in here. Yes, sir.
Could you confirm the time when you rescued the first person? The time?
The time of the first rescue?
I don't think
Lori?
we have the exact.
We don't have the exact time. We just know they're, 3 of them have been rescued, and they are on their way to emergency medical services to be treated and to be checked thoroughly.
You talked about
Two
communication.
were,
Ma'am.
you said 2 were ambulatory, does that mean they crawled out of that? 2
They were able to walk, yes, ma'am.
Out of that themselves, okay.
Yes, ma'am. With assisted with help, but they were able to get themselves down onto the tugboat.
You
Well,
spoke
how
of
about the
communication by
cause of death?
tapping. Can you just talk about sort of the process that went from one narrowing down where they were on the ship and then actually having that communication and then finding them, please?
I can give you a little bit about that. And we were out there yesterday and did some of that tapping in the morning, which was a little disheartening because you kept hearing things fall in the ship and you weren't sure if those were people or if they were cars. But there was just a system of tapping where they would do 3 or 4 taps or more, and eventually they got tap backs. It's more important that the crew knew where to go so they could touch the steel on the outside of the ship to make those taps. And that's a pretty fascinating story to me, and one I think we'll be able to hear a lot about.
Speaking of the fascinating story, we heard that they actually volunteered to go and stay to actually make the engine ongoing. Is it true that some people said that they are the real heroes to make the engine ongoing and not, make it maybe safer for the rest of the crew?
I couldn't comment on that, and I don't know that to be true.
Do they speak English?
No, I don't even know about that.
So we have the chief engineer up
The
there.
chief engineer from the ship was actually out there translating, so he was able to communicate in Korean with the 3 members who were in that one space.
Do you have names?
We do have names, but we're not putting those out right now.
What do you know about the cause of this? They don't seem to have a lot of previous violations.
No, and it's a rather new ship for the industry, so I do not have that. That's an ongoing investigation and will continue to be looked into.
Were any of the cars unlatched, from what you can tell? Did they have anything to do with it? Was it tipping it?
No, I couldn't tell you about that, and at this point, we don't know how many of the cars could actually be unlashed and laying on the port side.
Once you rescue the crew members, how do you then take this vessel? How do you rescue the vessel out of there?
I'll leave that up to Commander Witt to discuss.
Excuse me, this is Korean media. Can you summarize the tactic check for Korean media? 3 of them are already rescued, and 1 person still remain inside, and 3 of them already rescued person still in hospital. Is it right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part of your question?
Three of
Three to the
them
hospital.
already rescued person.
Yes, sir. 3 have been rescued, and 3 are on their way to the hospital to be checked by way of Glenn County Emergency Management Services to be checked at the hospital.
Last question is, I'm sorry. Last question is, one still remain inside, trapped inside, is need to get some fresh air. Is it right?
Yes, sir, he does.
How at risk is he?
He's probably the greatest risk of all 4 right now. And to tell you the truth, we don't know because we don't have the monitoring in his space that will provide that. We are trusting that the ventilation that may be in there that is meant to be there remains intact, and we will have more information on that soon.
How far is he from the location where you got the 3 others?
I don't have that exactly. I believe it was 1 deck, but when you're talking decks now, the whole thing is turned on its side. But we know they have seen him. So we'll have.
How thick
I
was
want
the
to
hull?
get, if I can we get back to that other question regarding
We got time for one
salvage?
last question. Yours was about,
Yeah, so
For
after you
recovery.
rescue the crew members, how do you extract that vessel?
Yes, ma'am. So, as the captain mentioned, we have some concurrent operations going on. Obviously, the priority at this point is still the rescue operation, but we're also still moving forward with salvage plans and pollution mitigation response. Towards those ends, we've established a unified command with the Coast Guard, Georgia Department of Natural Resources, and the responsible party. As far as the further salvage, the next step will really be to drill down on stability of the vessel and to refine a solid plan for righting the vessel, accounting for the pollution, but to get that safely straightened out. Thank you.